नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। The flow of time is perennial. History is part of time. Culture and tradition flow with history. At intervals of a few centuries, Bharatavarsha has seen flashes of astounding phenomenon of vision and wisdom, guiding people to follow Vedic Dharma. Maharishi Vedavyasa compiled the Vedas and edited them into 4. Centuries rolled before the advent of Adi Shankara, the young saint who conquered the subcontinent by his serenity and scientific logic, and re-established the universal philosophy of Advaita. To carry on his mission, he established monastic institutions in different parts of India, including the ones at Badrinath, Dwaraka, Puri, Sringeri, and Kanchipuram.
Kanchipuram, one of the 7 Mokshapuris of Bharat, has been a great center of learning since time immemorial. Here, Shankara installed a Sri Chakra before the deity Kamakshi. He ascended the Sarvagnya Pitha and established a Matham with Kamakoti as the formless Shakti, manifesting as Kamakshi and as Sri Chakra. In the luminous line of Acharyas of this Matham, including Abhinava Shankara, comes the sage of Kanchi, Jagadguru Pujya Shri Chandrashekarendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 68th Shankaracharya of the ancient and illustrious Kanchi Kamakoti Pitham.
We have only read about great saints world over who carried the message of God, a message of harmony and happiness for all living beings. Blessed are those who have been contemporaries of this sage, who radiated divinity in speech, in silence, in his penetrating glance, and in his serene smiles. The Acharya expressed profound respect for any religion which believed in the supremacy of God. He believed that every person with any religious pursuit is a divine manifestation. He spoke not only to the learned, but also to the innocent with equal kindness. A multimillionaire and a man in the street made absolutely no difference to him. Their problems ranged from sublime to silly. He asked people to adhere to their respective faiths and avoid wavering and shifting. This was perhaps his credential for being a Jagadguru.
In 1991, His Holiness Dalai Lama, the religious leader of the Tibetan Buddhists, came to Kanchi and had darshan of the Mahaswami, whom he described as the only monk of the century.
Milton Singer of Chicago University wrote that the soul force of India's saints is not a thing of the past, but a living force today. Albert Franklin, the American consul, said that he saw Jesus Christ himself in the Acharya. Syed Hussein Nasser, the Vice Chancellor of Tehran University in Iran, said, "The light that I have experienced as a Muslim from saints of our faith, I realized at Kanchi." Considered as divinity in human form by millions of devotees, he merged with the infinite on 8th January 1994 at the age of 100.
Who was this rare phenomenon? It was in this house in Vidippuram in Tamil Nadu In a middle-class Brahmin family, Swaminathan was born in the year Jaya on the 8th day of Vaikashi month in Anusha Nakshatra, the English date being 20th May 1894. It was Vaishakha Purnima, the day of Lord Buddha's birth. The celebrated Tamil saint poet Thiruvalluvar was also born on Vaikashi Anusham. Swaminathan was the second son of Subramanya Shastrigal and Mahalakshmi Ammal. Their mother tongue was Kannada. Swaminathan's mother was a descendant of the great Govinda Dikshitar, the eminent chief minister of three Nayak rulers of Tanjavur. His son Venkatamakhi was the celebrated musicologist and the author of the 72 Melakarta scheme. Swaminathan's father, Subramanya Shastrigal, had training in Vedas and Carnatic music. He served as government supervisor for education. Swaminathan's only elder brother was Ganapati. Younger brothers were Sambhamurthy, Sadashivam, and Krishnamurthy. His younger sister was Lalita. The father taught Swaminathan music. The mother fed him with shlokas. He showed tremendous grasp and retention.
Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
He was often taken by his parents for darshan of the 66th Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham.
The Swamiji observed some divine vibrations in the boy and predicted that he will be a Mahatma and a Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. At the primary school, Swaminathan's excellence got him double promotion. Swaminathan's maternal elder cousin Lakshmi Kantan was receiving training in Rigveda. Just by listening to him regularly, Swaminathan had the sharpness to learn the verses. Upanayanam was duly performed for him and he received tuition in Sanskrit. A family friend advocate, Venkatraman, was thrilled when he saw the boy's horoscope and the lines on his foot. He predicted that he was going to be a great saint, revered by the whole world. Lakshmi Kantan was a disciple attendant of the Shankaracharya Swamigal. Swaminathan used to keenly observe his work and puja rituals. With the father's transfers, he joined the second form in Arcot American Mission School at Tindivanam. Here, he stood first in all subjects, including the one for recitation of the Bible. Swaminathan got the first prize acting as Prince Arthur in Shakespeare's King John for his princely demeanor and dialogue delivery. When the 66th Shankaracharya of Kanchi attained Siddhi, 18-year-old Lakshmi Kantan was installed as the 67th Shankaracharya at Kalavai near Kanchipuram.
On learning this, Mahalakshmi Ammal with her son Swaminathan left for Kalavai to console her widowed sister, whose only son had taken to sannyasa. At Kumarakotam in Kanchipuram, Muniratnam Mudaliyar, a senior staff of the Matam, saw Swaminathan. He asked him to accompany him immediately in a fast-moving cart to Kalavai and arranged another cart for the family. The boy thought that he was being urgently taken only to attend on his elder cousin.
The staff slowly explained to him that his cousin also had attained Siddhi after only 8 days of initiation, and that Swaminathan himself was going to be installed as the 68th Shankaracharya. The boy was shocked. He did not know what to do except uttering the word Rama Rama. When he stood before the Adhishtanam of the 66th Shankaracharya, Swaminathan felt an inexplicable tranquility descending on him.
With telegraphic consent from his father, procedural rituals were gone through.
Jalashayam gatva snatva asmadashramat paramahamsashramam pravishami Om bhuh sanyastam maya Om bhuvah sanyastam maya Om suvah sanyastam maya.
He was installed as Pujya Shri Chandrashekarendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 68th Shankaracharya of the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham, on 13th February 1907.
He bhagavo brahma adhihi bhoho
Mama hridaye hridayam te dadami.
Swaminathan's mother reached Kalavai, followed by the father. Finding their beloved son turned into an ascetic at a tender age of 13, the parents stood stunned. But the charming sannyasi requested them to permit him to assume his new responsibility, which was obviously God's will. They never met him afterwards.
Succession to the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham required adopting sannyasa from brahmacharya itself. On 9th May 1907, a grand spiritual coronation of the new Acharya was celebrated at Kumbakonam. After Abhisheka with waters from holy rivers, the young Acharya sat on the sacred silver throne and received homage from devotees. Then he worshipped at some temples. The first priority for the Acharya was learning the Vedas, Shastras and various classics from scholars. To avoid distraction by devotees, a secluded village, Mahendra Mangalam, was chosen for his stay for 3 years. It became a pilgrimage for the great scholar teachers who were astounded by the extraordinary grasping power of the saint student. Such privileged teachers included learned giants like Mahamahopadhyaya Painganadu Ganapati Shastri, Mahamahopadhyaya Venkatasubba Shastri, Varahur Venkatrama Shastri, Mahamahopadhyaya Karungulam Krishna Shastri, and such others.
With his love for the rich traditions of Tamil language, the Acharya studied its grammar and literature. Additionally, he was learning English, French, and Marathi languages on his own. With his deep interest in arts, particularly music, he enjoyed discussing its nuances. He was good in singing and playing veena. He often went to the small islands in the middle of the river and blissfully contemplated on nature's beauty, which were photographed by a disciple under his supervision. His interests included history, epigraphy, archaeology, astronomy, and sculpture. He used to visit Gangaikonda Cholapuram and study the sculptures and inscriptions. When he returned to Kumbakonam, he was fully equipped with knowledge needed for his high position as the head of an ancient spiritual organization. He arranged to erect suitable adhishtanams for his Guru and Paramaguru at Kalavai, where he was initiated into the Sannyasa order.
He streamlined the administration of the Matham. Even at 23, he loved academic discussions with pursuit of knowledge. He convened a Vidvat Sadas and conferred titles on scholars. He arranged essay competitions on Dharma for students. Deserving students were given scholarships. He also arranged for the publication of the history of the Matham in various languages.
At Tanjavur, the Maratha royal family paid their respects to the Acharya and hosted his camp.
For the Kumbakonam Mahamaham festival, corresponding to the Kumbh Mela of North India, the Madras Muslim Youth Association sent 200 volunteers to help the gathering of devotees. In appreciation of this service, the Acharya gifted a silver cup to them.
He got the leading epigraphist T.A. Gopinath Rao to examine the centuries-old copperplate grants relating to the Matham and publish the same. These are relevant to the history of our country also. He firmly believed in the cultural unity of Bharat from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. He showed serious concern for the country to become free from foreign rule. In 1918, when Khadi cloth was propagated under Mahatma Gandhiji's Swadeshi scheme, the Acharya himself switched over to Khadi for the rest of his life.
The Acharya started his Vijaya Yatra in 1919. He travelled initially in a simple palanquin. Later, he switched over to Padayatra totally till the end of his life. At Pattishwaram, the Acharya asked the revolutionary patriot Subramanya Shiva, who was afflicted with leprosy, to come close to him and blessed that the country would soon be free. For going to Rameshwaram temple, he dared to cross the 3 kilometers long rail bridge by foot. There was no road bridge at that time. At Setu, he gathered sand from the sea for immersion in river Ganga, which he reached 12 years later, a tradition rooted in the physical, psychic and religious unity of this country. Here, he gave khadi clothes to all his disciples.
When national leaders Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das and S. Satyamurthy sought his blessings, the Acharya said,
all political parties should ensure that people's piety is not affected. Though as a sannyasi, I cannot identify myself with any party, I certainly look forward to the country attaining freedom soon.
I want not only the foreigners' rule to go,
but also the foreign outlook of our people to go.
The Congress leader Purushottam Das Tandon, as also Tej Bahadur Sapru, received his blessings. They marveled his knowledge and concern for public affairs.
Spiritually, the Acharya was also a freedom fighter, fighting for freedom of the people from the cycle of birth and death. He felt that by the time political independence was obtained, our people may perhaps further lose their spiritual instincts.
When the government of the then Madras Presidency brought a bill to regulate Hindu religious endowments and temples, the Acharya guided some eminent advocates to draft a memorandum. The Chief Minister, Raja of Panagal of Justice Party, thanked the Acharya for his valuable suggestions. The Acharya was a great authority on Vedanta and Mimamsa and could communicate with clarity to the people. He studied world history, particularly the impact of Hindu culture on humanity at large. He studied keenly the Jain relics of Narthamalai and the fresco paintings of Sittannavasal cave. The Kudumayamalai inscriptions on music belonging to 7th century was of special interest for him. The Tamil servant Uve Swaminatha, who retrieved many classics from decaying palm leaf manuscripts, received the title Dakshinatya Kalanidhi from the Acharya. Veteran scholar Panditamani Kadireshan Chettiar hailed the Acharya's suggestion for study of both Sanskrit and Tamil for knowing and preserving our great heritage. His Holiness had command over 17 languages, including some foreign languages also. Praising Raja Sir Annamalai Chettiar for establishing the Annamalai University, he shared his concern about the pernicious dowry system which was impoverishing many families.
At a cowshed in Nallicherry, a village in Kerala, a historic meeting of two great persons took place on 15th October 1927. The 57-year-old Mahatma Gandhi was drawn to the 33-year-old sannyasi sitting on the floor, clad in a khadi saffron cloth. The Acharya was also happy to meet a respectable national leader leading a simple life with spiritual emphasis. He cautioned Gandhiji,
Our actions, as far as possible, should not hurt the feelings of large sections of people who believe in tradition. Our dharma advocates equality, but not identity.
The Mahatma agreed, but submitted that even to save our dharma, there are some practical compulsions. He marveled at the genius of the Acharya and his concern for the common good. Paul Brunton came to India in search of a fully realized soul. The Acharya told him,
Only spiritual understanding between all nations will lead to goodwill, peace, and prosperity. There is an indwelling divinity in every man, which will bring him back to God. A wiser generation will fuse the best points of Asiatic and European civilizations into a higher and balanced social scheme. Be humble, you will find what you seek. Go to the revered Ramana Maharshi at Tiruvannamalai.
For his Kashi Yatra, his route was through Shri Shailam, Hyderabad, Nagpur, Jabalpur and Allahabad. He covered the entire route of over 2,000 kilometers by foot with the summer heat at 120 degrees. Wherever he went, he had a ritual bath in the nearby sacred river and darshan at the respective temple, thereby silently demonstrating the psychic unity of Bharat. The common folk and elite thronged to receive him with honors. The Acharya spoke to the people in their own language. At Allahabad, he was ceremoniously received by a committee led by Vice-Chancellor Ganganath Jha. In July 1934, at the Triveni confluence, he mixed the sand gathered by him at the Setu seashore in 1922. After bathing, he collected water from Ganga for abhishekam of deities in South Indian temples. He reached Varanasi and received a hearty welcome by the public, led by the Maharaja of Kashi and Pandit Madan Mohan Malavya, Vice Chancellor of Benares Hindu University. He had darshan of Lord Vishwanatha and Goddess Annapurni. The Gauda sannyasis of north and Dravida sannyasis of south offered Bhiksha to him. At the Benares Hindu University, a grand welcome address in Sanskrit was presented by the Vice Chancellor. The Acharya, who replied in Sanskrit, said,
The aim of education in ancient India was to attain inner peace. This alone can ensure happiness for society. Education based on our dharma will confer immortality.
A conference of eminent scholars of Bengal invited the Acharya to Calcutta. At Kastar Mahadev, numerous old sannyasis welcomed the Swamiji with reverence. He was honored with public receptions at Patna and Gaya. The Swamiji addressed the people in Hindi. At Bodh Gaya, the Swamiji offered worship to the Bodhi tree and Lord Buddha. After visiting a few other places, he reached Calcutta, where he received a colorful reception at Howrah, jointly organized by several linguistic groups. At a mammoth reception at Kali Ghat, the welcome address mentioned that Adi Shankara, after establishing the other Peethams, finally reached Kanchi, where he ascended the Sarvagnya Peetham, and that Pujya Sri Chandrashekarendra Saraswati Swamigal has undertaken the Padayatra all over India, just like Adi Shankara himself. At Puri, at the Jagannath temple, the ancient Mukti Mantapa Sabha consists of 18 scholars from 18 Shasana villages around Puri. Only those coming in the direct line of disciples of Adi Shankara can adorn the presidential seat. The sage of Kanchi was requested to occupy this seat. Walking through various towns in Orissa, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, he reached Rameshwaram in 1939. With Ganga water collected by him, he did Abhishekam to Ramalinga Swami. His Ganga Yatra was considered complete on that day.
The Acharya returned to Kumbakonam after his unprecedented Dharma Yatra for 21 years, covering over 5,000 kilometers. He emphasized that the philosophy of Hindu society is collective well-being and salvation. He initiated a scheme of mass contact. More than 2,000 honorary Mudradhikaris were nominated in Thanjavur district alone. Some aims of this scheme were social service by the village community, preserving temples by cleaning them, peaceful persuasive prevention of conversion of Hindus to other religions, cow protection, planting of trees and growing of vegetables, digging of tanks, wells and channels, or laying of roads by people themselves without distinction of rich or poor. He arranged for a new trust to give assistance to the Adhishtanam of Bodhendra Swamigal, the 59th Shankaracharya of Kanchi, who stressed the importance of Nama Sankirtanam.
To perpetuate Vedic studies, the Veda Dharma Paripalana Sabha was constituted. In 1944, the Golden Jubilee of the Advaita Sabha was celebrated by eminent scholars. In 1946, there was communal frenzy following the unfortunate demand for splitting the country. Hindu women of Bengal were molested and converted, and there were indiscriminate killings. The Acharya said,
As per our Shastras, those who have been molested and forcibly converted should be allowed to return to our religion and be rehabilitated without any stigma. We should honor those Muslims and Hindus who rendered assistance during these disturbances.
1947 saw the dawn of independence for Bharat. The Acharya's message to the people was,
Our flag contains the Dharma Chakra. It links us not only with Emperor Ashoka, but also with Bhagavad Gita, which says, Evam pravartitam chakram. That is, our dharma shines as the chakra, which symbolizes the constant interaction between the human being and the cosmos. This freedom has been obtained by long struggle and sacrifice. Let us pray for a future of peace and prosperity. People should stick to truth at any cost and should completely eschew communal strife. Each one of us should think of the welfare of others. Control of the mind leads to self-realization, and that is real independence.
When Gandhiji was assassinated in January 1948, the Acharya said that it is a great loss to our value system. Gandhiji's views on Ramanama, Varnashrama Dharma, food habits, and the definition of God are spiritually profitable even to the most faithful Hindu. The Acharya asked the people to pray for his soul. He instructed that 2nd October, Gandhiji's birthday, should be observed as a day of prayer in temples, mosques, and churches. Swamiji was instrumental in the resurgence of the centuries-old Tamil devotional hymns, Thiruppavai and Thiruvempavai. He pointed out that a festival named Trippevai Triampevai is held in Thailand. He asked the veteran Tamil scholar T.P. Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai to go to Java, Cambodia, and other Southeast Asian countries to study the evidences of Indian culture in those regions. He sent communications to about 4,000 legislators to ensure that our legislations should conform to our culture, which is our dharma. When the Indian constitution was taking shape, this serene sannyasi convened a conference of matams from all over India, the first of its kind. The concept of religion as a fundamental right saw the light of day. Stalwarts like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and Dr. Ambedkar appreciated and respected the suggestions of the Acharya. Article 26 underwent an important change. Also, religion was shifted to the concurrent list from the state list.
In 1954, the Acharya nominated as his successor 19-year-old Subramanian, who was trained in the Matham itself and was known for his piety, exemplary behavior and intelligence. He was ceremoniously initiated into the sannyasa ashrama in Kanchipuram as Pujya Shri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 69th Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam.
To ensure undisturbed training and meditation of the junior Acharya, he was secluded at the remote village Ambi near Kanchipuram, where there is an Adhishtanam of a Shankaracharya of Kanchi. The Paramacharya himself conducted the training.
When Acharya Vinoba Bhave met him, the Swamiji said,
Any service aiming at purification of one's own self is itself worship.
" 1957 marked the golden jubilee of the Mahaswami's accession to the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam. A biography of the sage in Tamil, written by Sambhamurthy Shastrigal, was released. The royal family of Greece, including the Queen Mother, Her Majesty Frederica, and Her Royal Highness Princess Irene, had darshan of His Holiness along with the eminent Professor devotee T.M.P. Mahadevan. When the Sanskrit Commission sought his advice, the Acharya suggested that all teachers and candidates for the Indian administrative, police, revenue and foreign service examinations should be given a basic knowledge of Sanskrit for national unity.
The Mahaswami blessed renovation of numerous temples. He guided the Kumbhabhishekam of the Akhilandeshwari temple at Thiruvanekka.
The ancient spacious matam at Tirvanika was renovated. A Veda Patashala is conducted here also. He pointed out that the Rajarajeshwaram temple at Tirvanika has a Panchamukha lingam with 5 faces, just like the one at Kathmandu in Nepal. He explained how the priest at Pashupatinath temple in Nepal is from Karnataka, the Panda at Rameshwaram is from Uttar Pradesh, and the priest at Badrinath is from Kerala. The Mahaswami arranged for covering the Vimana of the Kanchi Kamakshi temple with gold. In 1960, the Hindu Religious Endowments Commission, under the chairmanship of Sir C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, met him and received his guidance.
In 1962, at Ilayatangudi in southern Tamil Nadu, the Mahaswami convened the first Vyasa Bharata Agama Shilpa Vidvat Sadas, a unique historical, cultural and academic assembly of scholars and artists from all over India and abroad. The topics included temple architecture, worship and evidences of Hindu culture in various regions of the world. Scholars were honored. The Acharya said,
Our ancient Vedic heritage was prevalent from Egypt in the west to Java in the east. Buddhism did not accept rituals, but with its propagation of Satya and Ahimsa, it is only the Upanishadic aspect of our Vedic religion. We should rediscover our cultural ties with our neighboring countries, including West Asia. Western interests have concocted the race theory, dividing our people into Aryans and Dravidians, for which there is absolutely no sanction in our own sources. We must be fully aware of our solidarity.
The Mahaswami's simple speeches to the masses flowed effortlessly, containing the most ancient wisdom and also results of latest research. For him, all religions are but facets of the only eternal Sanatana Dharma. Unity of religions is needed, not uniformity. The core of the Acharya's life was the preservation, study and adherence to the Vedas, which are the common heritage of the entire human race. Ashan Chaturang Mantri Sarth of Thailand spoke about Thai dances along with demonstration. Such academic gatherings in various cities became almost an annual feature under the Mahaswami's spiritual scheme. He ensured that a variety of cultural programs, particularly of folk arts, were an integral part of such gatherings to rekindle an awareness about our rich artistic heritage, which only propagated our dharma traditionally at the grassroots level.
The sage of Kanchi spelt out a simple but brilliant scheme to help the poor on a mass scale with the people's involvement. Every housewife is to deposit a handful of rice, that is pidi arishi, plus a coin in a pot before she starts cooking each day. This will be collected periodically by volunteers who would give it to the nearest temple where it will be cooked, adding salt, tamarind and curd. After offering to the deity, it will be distributed to the poor. During the India-China border conflict in 1962, The government wanted gold for war effort. The Acharya, in a memorable appeal, called upon the people to rally to the defense of our country and offer at least a small quantity of gold to the nation through the temples of goddess Shakti from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. He said that we should punish our enemy, but without malice. During the Indo-Pakistan War in 1965, the Acharya arranged for free distribution of lakhs of copies of Hanuman Chalisa to our troops to sustain their morale and ensure victory. A golden bowl of honey as prasadam from the Kamakshi temple at Kanchipuram was sent to the military hospital at St. Thomas Mount in Madras, where our soldiers were undergoing treatment. This was with Acharya's blessings for their total recovery and victory.
The sage of Kanchi convened a conference of heads of various matams in Tamil Nadu to exchange views. An organization called Deviga Peravai was formed, for which the Acharya was unanimously requested to be the first president. The Arsha Samskrita Sadas at Tirupati was yet another milestone in the Acharya's mission. The Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam extended a devotional welcome to both the Acharyas with special honors due to Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham.
स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि
The flow of time is perennial. History is part of time. Culture and tradition flow with history. At intervals of a few centuries, Bharatavarsha has seen flashes of astounding phenomenon of vision and wisdom, guiding people to follow Vedic Dharma. Maharishi Vedavyasa compiled the Vedas and edited them into 4. Centuries rolled before the advent of Adi Shankara, the young saint who conquered the subcontinent by his serenity and scientific logic, and re-established the universal philosophy of Advaita. To carry on his mission, he established monastic institutions in different parts of India, including the ones at Badrinath, Dwaraka, Puri, Sringeri, and Kanchipuram.
Kanchipuram, one of the 7 Mokshapuris of Bharat, has been a great center of learning since time immemorial. Here, Shankara installed a Sri Chakra before the deity Kamakshi. He ascended the Sarvagnya Peetha and established a Matham with Kamakoti as the formless Shakti, manifesting as Kamakshi and as Sri Chakra. In the luminous line of Acharyas of this Matham, including Abhinava Shankara, comes the sage of Kanchi, Jagadguru Pujya Shri Chandrashekarendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 68th Shankaracharya of the ancient and illustrious Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham.
We have only read about great saints world over who carried the message of God, a message of harmony and happiness for all living beings. Blessed are those who have been contemporaries of this sage, who radiated divinity in speech, in silence, in his penetrating glance, and in his serene smiles. The Acharya expressed profound respect for any religion which believed in the supremacy of God. He believed that every person with any religious pursuit is a divine manifestation.
स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि
The flow of time is perennial. History is part of time. Culture and tradition flow with history. At intervals of a few centuries, Bharatavarsha has seen flashes of astounding phenomenon of vision and wisdom, guiding people to follow Vedic Dharma. Maharishi Vedavyasa compiled the Vedas and edited them into 4. Centuries rolled before the advent of Adi Shankara, the young saint who conquered the subcontinent by his serenity and scientific logic, and re-established the universal philosophy of Advaita. To carry on his mission, he established monastic institutions in different parts of India, including the ones at Badrinath, Dwaraka, Puri, Sringeri, and Kanchipuram.
Kanchipuram, one of the 7 Mokshapuris of Bharat, has been a great center of learning since time immemorial. Here, Shankara installed a Sri Chakra before the deity Kamakshi. He ascended the Sarvagnya Peetha and established a Matham with Kamakoti as the formless Shakti, manifesting as Kamakshi and as Sri Chakra. In the luminous line of Acharyas of this Matham, including Abhinava Shankara, comes the sage of Kanchi, Jagadguru Pujya Shri Chandrashekarendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 68th Shankaracharya of the ancient and illustrious Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham.
We have only read about great saints world over who carried the message of God, a message of harmony and happiness for all living beings. Blessed are those who have been contemporaries of this sage, who radiated divinity in speech, in silence, in his penetrating glance, and in his serene smiles. The Acharya expressed profound respect for any religion which believed in the supremacy of.
His discourses in Tamil have been brought out in 7 volumes as Devathin Kural, meaning voice of divinity. These are known as the common man's Veda. Some parts have been brought out in English also.
At Sri Shailam, a Shankara Mantapam was consecrated. Memorial mantapas for Adi Shankara were constructed in many places all over India, including Rameshwaram, Tiruvadai-Maradur, Kanyakumari, Kanchipuram, Rishikesh, Badrinath, Bangalore, Vishakhapatnam, Trayambaka, Prayag, and Kurukshetra. A magnificent Shankara Stupa was erected at Kaladi in Kerala, the birthplace of Adi Shankara. The sage of Kanchi told the members of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad,
You should have your units all over India and also guide Hindus living abroad.
When the atomic scientist Dr. Raja Ramanna met him, he asked him to study Katyayana's Vartika and philosophy of Nagarjuna.
At Srirangam, the Mahaswami suggested building of a new Gopuram on the old base. This was duly accomplished in the 80s by the initiative of His Holiness G.R. Swamigal of Ahobila Matam. The Mahaswami directed Kanchi Matam to financially help in constructing one of the tiers. This is now the tallest Gopuram in our country.
At Tenampakam, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi came and sat in meditation in front of him when he was observing silence. When the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.G. Ramachandran had his darshan, smilingly the Acharya told him that his power of attracting the masses should be used in a positive manner.
In April 1978, at the age of 84, he suddenly left on an indefinite Padayatra, walking 20 to 25 kilometers per day. He declined any formal paraphernalia of the Matam. A few personal disciples accompanied him on their own initiative. Harijan men, women and children waited on the roadside for his darshan. The Acharya made kind enquiries about their welfare and blessed them. His Padayatra included Belgaum, Satara, Tuljapur, Pandharpur, Mahagaon and Kurnool, where he blessed countless common folk who saw him. At 84, he walked like a young man of 25. The rugged terrain, oppressive weather, and utter lack of even minimum comforts did not disturb his strict spiritual routine and poise. Roads and rocks were his bed, and sky was his roof. His puja was part of his self. At Satara in Maharashtra, a charming boy, Shankaran, had his first darshan of the Mahaswami and received his grace. In later camps, the Acharya put special questions to him and was happy with his response. After one such meeting, the Mahaswami casually remarked that the Matam would soon have 3 Shankaracharyas.
Shamanna, a hotelier with advanced cancer, offered a few lakhs of rupees at the Acharya's feet at Satara to utilize it for some dharmic cause. His Holiness asked him to take the money back and form a trust for building a Uttara Chidambaram Nataraja Mandir in Satara. The Kumbhabhishekam was done in 1985 by Sri Chandrashekarendra Saraswati Swamigal.
Even at the foundation stage, the Paramacharya gave a gracious command to another devotee, Dr. Padma Subramaniam, a dancer and research scholar, to design a unique set of 108 Natya Shastra Karana sculptures, each with twin figures of Shiva and Parvati, to be fixed around the main shrine. They were sculpted in black granite by Muttaya Stapati.
This historic project revives the Rashtriya Marga tradition common to entire Asia after a gap of 500 years, fulfilling the efforts of Swami Vidyaranya.
May 1983 was another historic day for the Kanchi Matam. Charming 14-year-old Shankaran, whom the Mahaswami blessed at Satara, was initiated into the sannyasa order and designated as Pujya Shri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 70th Peethadipati of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. At the earnest request of the two acharyas, as also the government and people of Tamil Nadu, the Mahaswami returned to Kanchipuram in 1984. The unique trinity at Kanchi Matam, the three acharyas belonging to three generations, reflected the Mahaswami, ensuring a smooth, unbroken continuity in the 25 centuries old ritualistic, spiritual, social and administrative traditions of the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. The Paramacharya himself supervised the initial training of the Bala Swamigal.
Visitors during the period included Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, the President of India, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma, as well as their Majesties, the King and Queen of Nepal, and national leaders Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani, and Dr. Murali Manohar Joshi visited the Matam and paid their respects to the three acharyas. A lady came as the widow of an army personnel. The acharya shocked her by giving her Kumkumam Prasadam and told her that her husband was alive. Later, the blessed couple came and fell at his feet. As a personification of humility, the Mahaswami said,
Many devotees identify divinity with me, though it may not be a fact. But perhaps they derive an inner feeling of communion with divinity due to their own dedicated perception.
He was a picture of grace in everything, including his Anushtana and Puja. His message was a simple synthesis of all religions. He came down to the common man to bless him.
He weaved together various branches of knowledge into one universal fabric. His insights were remarkable.
In the following years, Paramacharya seemed to be further withdrawing towards silence. Some attributed this to his failing health. The crowds of devotees were kept at a distance, perhaps to avoid infection. His gracious smiles and queries to the doctors were full of meaning.
A committee was formed with the former President of India, R. Venkatraman, as chairman to celebrate 1993-94 as the centenary year of the Mahaswami of Kanchi. In 1993, countless devotees satisfied their own desire by performing Kanakabhishegam to the Acharya. But this meant nothing for that great Sthitaprajna, for whom gold and gravel made absolutely no difference. The Mahaswami proved by his life that mukti is not a state after death, and that one can become a Jivan Mukta in his own lifetime. In that state, he radiated divine grace in full measure to all who came to him,